Hey guys, it's just me checking in today. Day two. I do have a place to stay tonight, and it's going to be a great story for the book. I could go on into it here, but it'd be overwhelming. Anyway, the gentleman I'll be staying with, his name is Larry, and he has moved down to this Central PA area from upstate New York, where he was a Park Service maintenance director for 32 years. And one of his ambitions is to become a certified ranger, park ranger, tour guide, I guess, at Gettysburg National Park. And his knowledge is just vastly overwhelming. And in discussing some things with him, just briefly, I realized how ignorant I am to the Gettysburg Address, what it meant, when it was written, what it said, and more importantly, how does it apply today? Because I've heard two people in the last 2 days say to me that the cause of the Civil War is a fight we're still fighting today, and it got me to thinking about the address. And I know there are diehards that know it forward and backward. I know there are some people that don't know anything about it, but you know how many people out there I think are just like me that know 5 words from the Gettysburg Address? We all know the famous 407 years ago, but what else did it say? What made this such a transcendent piece of prose, I guess? So I thought, as I'm doing this journey, I try to teach lessons where I can. I'm trying to learn lessons where I can. And I thought that I deserved to, or you deserved to hear this. So if you don't want to hear the Gettysburg Address, it's not very long. It should be under 2 minutes. At least Abraham Lincoln did it in under 2. And I talk pretty fast. But, if you think about it and you listen to it, it is pretty crazy that the overwhelming cause of the Civil War was the abolition of slavery, and President Lincoln's desire to abolish slavery, and the southern states wanted to keep it. So we're talking about race, back on November 19th, 1863. And here we are on July 10th of 2018. So we're talking 150 so years ago, 155 years ago that this address was given. And yet we are still battling. I won't say we're at a Civil War peak, but we are still battling some of these same exact issues that are going on. And again, I'm going to ask each and every one of you, like I'm asking myself, point the thumb, right? How do we improve upon this? Not by kneeling for anthems, not by falsely screaming racism when it doesn't exist, not by committing and propagating racism. It starts by pointing a thumb one bucket at a time to put out this fire. So without any further ado, like I said, I may bore you with this, but feel free to turn it off if you don't want to hear the address. But I'm doing this as much for me as I think I am for you. So the Gettysburg Address goes as follows. 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us to live in, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. So listen to that a couple times, find out what sections you like, and realize that we're still fighting this battle today on some level. And it's kind of crazy that 155 years later, that this man sat on a burial ground, and in one way wanted to give it the proper respect it deserved, and another knew that there's no way he could possibly, and that says a lot as well. So I wanted to share that with you. It's been a great day and learning so much about Gettysburg with Larry. I'm going to share more about that later on tonight and tomorrow. Just love you guys. Kiera, Landon, Grayce, you guys need to hear that for school. Listen to that 2 or 3 times, please. Love you guys, and I'll see you soon.